1-0 for Dan the Man. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome into the Seattle Mariners post-game recap. This is going to be a fun one. Man, it just felt good to get that win. It just felt good to watch them rally and win that one. They rallied from 4 down in the 8th inning to defeat the Giants 6-5. They improved to 65 and 64 in the season. Houston loses a tough one in Baltimore. Mariners are 4.5 back. Still there. It's still a possibility for this team, and what a win. Congratulations to Dan Wilson on his first win as Mariners skipper. What a way to do it, too. Rallying from 4 down. Good for the team, not showing any quit there. Really impressive win. Leo Rivas just continues to have amazing at-bats. Colin Snyder has been, you could argue, the best reliever in this bullpen. I'll still give it to Munoz, but man, Snyder is making that really close. And then that 8th inning, just incredible. 6 straight singles for the Mariners. There were some bloops in there, but you know what? We've been watching this team get blooped, dinked, and dunked on for the last 15 games. I'm tired of it. It's nice to see the Mariners get one of those breaks. Does this win save the entire season? Am I gung-ho all the way back in now? Yeah, no. I mean, winning does that, right? It does get the juices flowing a little bit. So I probably do feel like I'm back in a little bit, but of course not. This doesn't undo all the negative stuff that happened to this team over the last couple weeks or anything like that. But it's just a feel-good win. You can look at it in a vacuum and say it feels good. Before I dive any further, though, do me a favor. Another thing that feels good is hitting the like button on this video. It helps out tremendously. Commenting your thoughts on this win down below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're new. About 15 subs away, I think, from 4,100, on the road to 5,000 now. So thank you all for your support, and hopefully we can kind of enjoy and celebrate this one together. But yeah, it started off looking like here we go again, right? This was one of those games. This is what they were winning when they got the 10-game lead. This is how they were doing it, essentially, is winning these type of crazy games. And it looked like just your kind of typical Mariners loss that we've been seeing, leaving guys on base like crazy, nobody getting the big hit, starting pitching not terrible, but not good enough. Bullpen holds it down, get some more base runners, and you lose. That's kind of been this team for the last, feels like probably for the last couple months, honestly. But then that 8th inning happens, and you just felt it, right? As soon as they got to like 5-3, I think it kind of felt like, I think something's happening here tonight. A little disappointed the 8th inning. They honestly didn't finish it off there. They had runners at first and second, nobody out. But man, Ryan Walker for the Giants is lights out. Kudos, well, not kudos, but thank you to Bob Melvin for not bringing him in earlier, because I don't know if the Mariners would have gotten anything off of him. So I think that's a game that might have, if they brought him at 5-3 or 5-4, might have stayed that way. Obviously, Rogers got BABIP to death a little bit in that inning, but man, Walker was lights out, and they couldn't touch him in the 9th inning. Absolutely fantastic pitching by Colin Snyder. And that 10th, Munoz was great in the 9th, striking out the side. But man, Colin Snyder just continues. He's a guy now that I have that confidence in. They're just certain. Munoz is there, although he hasn't been great his last couple outings. But every reliever is going to have moments. But Snyder is now a guy that when he comes into a game, I kind of sit back. Extra innings is always tough because the runner at second. But man, I feel pretty good when Colin Snyder comes into a game. So, and just a really fun night for the Mariners. Will it last? I don't know. There's still a lot of holes with this team. And listen, Dan Wilson's been here one game. I don't think there's any, magic button that he hit tonight that necessarily changed anything. But I do think, did you guys watch the end of the game? Did you see those hugs Dan was getting? I think, listen, I respect Scott. He was here a while. He did good things here. He really did. It was time to go. And I do wonder a little bit. There's been some reports now, like, Cameron Maben. He was only here a month. I don't want to put a lot of stock in what he said. Rosenthal even mentioned today there were some maybe guys not fully buying in the locker room, in the clubhouse, whatever you want to call it. Now, part of that just maybe Scott's been here almost a decade. I think we probably heard some similar things with Pete Carroll after 14 years. It happens. It really does. So, like I said, I really do wish Scott all the best. I'm not going to turn this into and I'm probably considered more of a Scott defender in terms of the Mariners community for the most part. And listen, I still don't think the whole thing was his fault. Those guys seem to embrace Dan pretty good after that game. and they seemed pretty happy for him. I mean, you saw all the hugs and handshakes. And again, I'll say it, I've never talked to anybody or heard any interview with anybody that has said a bad word about Dan Wilson. Let's see what he can do. Let's see what he can do. I actually, listen, do I think that, again, do I think Dan pushed some magic button to get the W tonight? No. This whole process is going to take a while. It's not an overnight thing that you just learn how to become a great manager. But I do think, what have I said? Scott has been pushing the wrong buttons. I thought Dan pushed some good ones tonight. Walking Lamont Wade Jr. in the 10th inning, I thought was a good decision. Going to Troy Taylor instead of Trent Thornton, 2 TTs. Going to him in that situation. I think Taylor came in the, what inning was it? Came in the 7th. That's usually the Trent Thornton situation. I liked going to Taylor there, and it was 5-1. It's not like you put him in a super tight spot, but I like him being kind of the first guy out in that situation and not Trent Thornton. I like letting Leo Rivas have that at bat. Rojas trying to bunt, I'm fine with that. We can debate it, I guess, a little bit, but and lefty on lefty. But you had to have Demo run for Turner in that 10th inning, so I didn't have a problem having Rojas take that at bat, trying to bunt. Because when in the top of the 10th, I would hate the bunt. In the bottom of the 10th, it makes sense because you're just trying to get that runner home from third. You just need the one run. I don't know if Scott would have let Leo Rivas take that at bat. That might have been something where we see Robles pinch hit for him and then Demo goes to short or something. I don't know who they all still had in the bench, but some of it's like just good fortune, right? Like even with Scott pushing the wrong buttons, some of it was just the guy couldn't catch a break. And so far, though, Dan has hit the right buttons. One game, again, this is not, please don't take this me going, see, Dan's got this locked in. There's going to be mistakes. There's going to be losses. This team probably still comes up a little bit short. But for one night, at least, it felt good. So let's look at the box score here. Castillo, 6 innings, 6 runs. 6 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs, all earned. No walks, 9 Ks. So hard with outings like that, right? Because no walks, 9 Ks is phenomenal. I mean, that's a great outing. But just Castillo not being able to keep the ball in the ballpark is frustrating. Gives up the home run to Wade Jr., Conforto, and then Ramos. Listen, Conforto and Ramos, good hitters. Ramos been exceptional. I should say good is probably a bit of an understatement. And Conforto's been solid. Wade's a good hitter. Not much in the power department, but a solid hitter. So he didn't give up home run to any scrubs or anything like that. But had they not won this game, I would have talked about that's a disappointing performance from Luis Castillo, a guy you expect to be your ace. You need better than that out of him. Now, it gets forgotten a little bit in the win, as it usually does, but, still need a better outing from Luis Castillo than that. I'm not worried about him or anything, but, it's a tough Giants lineup. I actually think it's kind of an underrated lineup. I don't know where they rank in baseball in terms of runs and everything like that, but you look up and down the line, there are some guys in there. So, and like I said, the 9 Ks, no walks is good, but got to find a way to keep the ball in the ballpark, essentially, if you're Luis Castillo. Troy Taylor, shutout inning, couple hits, a walk, 2 Ks, nice job. Got himself in a little bit of a jam, worked around it. One more thing I will say in Castillo's defense, before the Conforto home run, there was a play that Ryley kind of made a bad throw. It would have been a tough play. Again, that 4 runs fine, doesn't change it a whole lot, but just to be fair. But nice job by Taylor, put into a little bit of the fire, and then, works out of his own trouble, does a nice job, gets a couple strikeouts, looked really good. And I like it because that's been the Trent Thornton spot, and it was nice to see Troy Taylor in there. And, now Jimmy Garcia is on the IL. We'll talk about Gabe Spire, who's back. Sounds like, was it elbow or shoulder for Jimmy? Either way, brutal. Probably, I would assume, out for the season. And then he's a free agent at the end of the year, so who knows if that's, who knows what his availability is even going to be. So a tough blow, but now you need someone to kind of step up. And let's give Troy Taylor a shot. Maybe not, I'm saying in the 8th inning right away, but let's put him in a little tougher situation. So I know 5-1 is pretty low leverage, but again, it was just nice to see him over Thornton, I guess, in that pecking order, at least for tonight. And he did a great job and got out of it. That's where Thornton's been giving up runs. Taylor wiggles around and gets out of it. Gabe Spire with a shutout inning with 2 strikeouts. Good to see. The velocity still didn't look great, so I'm not convinced Spire's back necessarily, but, we'll take the results, obviously. It's certainly better than going out there with his velocity and giving up 5 earned runs. So I think it's something they've really missed this year was 2023 Gabe Spire, or even the start of 2024 Gabe Spire. because they've been in some tough situations with lefties and stuff, and Sauce just hasn't been locked down enough to really go to him in those tight situations. And if they can get some of that Aspire here in September, would definitely help. I'd like to see that velocity come back a tick or two. Munoz strikes out the side in the 9th. Snyder, a solid 10th with the walk to Wade Jr. and a couple strikeouts, gets Conforto and Ramos. Again, not easy guys to get out. Mariners strike out 18 Giants tonight. Impressive. And yeah, I thought walking Wade Jr. was the right call. Ramos is probably the better hitter. But here's the thing. If Ramos kills you, he kills you, right? Like, he could have hurt you regardless of what you did with Wade Jr. The point is you set up the double play. You set up the righty-righty matchup. And you just don't overthink it. And I thought that was the right call. There's been some extra innings this year where Scott has not done that. He's pitched to the guy, and it's come back to bite them. So I thought that was the right call as well. So good start there for Dan the Man. Offensively, Mariners pound out 9 hits, 8 walks, 6 runs. Listen, they strike out 14 times. I didn't even mention we know they're going to strike out. You just hope that in between the strikeouts, they find a way to get some guys on base. And they were getting guys on base early against Birdsong. They walked 4 times in 4 innings. Just couldn't get that big hit. Kind of reminds me of what I would talk about at the beginning of the year, where get guys on, but just can't bring them in. That's kind of what we saw in the first 4 innings. Birdsong is a legitimate prospect. Definitely. I think he's number 2 in the Giants system and 50th in baseball, or 70th, somewhere in the top 75 in terms of MLB prospects. So certainly not a scrub, but definitely had trouble with the command control. And I thought the Mariners missed some hittable pitches today for sure, but did work some walks. Were able to get him out after 4 innings. And, between all the bullpen arms had to be used, that's another good thing for tomorrow. Sean Jelly pitched tonight for the Giants. Rogers, Walker pitched 2 innings. He could be probably down tomorrow for sure. So that's a big boost here for the Mariners. So even though they didn't pay off with the walks against Birdsong in terms of getting runs off of him, it did pay off probably down towards the end of the game, forcing the Giants to go to the bullpen. Ryley 2 for 3, the home run, 2 RBIs, a walk. Luke Ryley really swinging the bat well in August. He has not been the problem for sure this month. OPS up to 752 on the year. His home run, his 16th. Julio 0 for 3, did have the 2 walks. That's a positive. Good to see Julio back in center field. He looks good. The first game he came back, I thought he looked like, my gosh, this guy needs another 3 weeks. He looked the part out there. Made a great catch in the 10th inning. Should have mentioned that. Phenomenal sinking line drive, tough catch off of Fitzgerald's bat. That's another guy that's been red hot for the Giants. 2 walks is good, but the other 3 at-bats were pretty dreadful. Walker got him, then a couple strikeouts that I thought just did not look good. Julio's still fighting it a little bit. The time off hurts because he was getting hot before then misses time. Doesn't have a rehab assignment. That hurts him. Certainly need Julio. Listen, cut it to 4.5 today, right? You're going to need Julio Rodriguez in September if you want to have any crack at this thing. Cal was 0 for 3, also had 2 walks. Not a great day for Cal, but listen, Cal and Julio both on base twice. That's solid, but overall not their best game. Speaking of not their best games, Randy Arozarena was awful. 0 for 5. He had a bad misplay in left field. Man, had they lost this game, that was probably going to be my number 1 talking point, was how bad Arozarena was. Was it the second inning when they had bases loaded? That 3-1 slider from Birdsong was not even close to being a strike, and Arozarena swings wildly at it. Listen, I get it, 3-1, he's just sitting dead red fastball, so he's essentially in swing mode, and if he does that and catches the fastball, it's probably out of here. But man, it wasn't like even a good slider. You still got to have some discipline up there. And what's it with Randy, like in every at-bat, just almost seems like he takes 2 strikes sometimes. I don't know. Listen, it's always easy to find frustrations with those things when guys are struggling. But man, I don't know. The body language doesn't look great. I don't like to speculate on those things with guys. I really don't, because I don't know what's in their head. I don't know, maybe they just got a bad read on a ball and it looks like poor effort, but rough game for Arozarena. Another guy that you're going to need down the stretch here. So got to be better than that. Polanco 1 for 4 with a base hit and a walk, on base a couple times. Haniger with a couple hits. Good to see. Canzone 0 for 2. That's the thing. You could say, well, bench Arozarena. I might, but man, then, you got to go with more Dom Canzone too. So got to kind of pick your poison. He's been rough. Nice game for Justin Turner off the bench, 1 for 2 with a base hit that made it 5-3, huge hit and a walk as well. Good game for Turner. Dylan Moore didn't get an at-bat, but pinch ran for Turner in the 10th inning. Big steal of third base, so Dylan Moore contributing, getting him back in that utility role, allows him to contribute in those situations, and that's a huge stolen base for the Mariners that helps win them the game. Josh Rojas was 1 for 5 with an RBI in that 8th inning rally. Really rough at-bat, though, in the 10th where he couldn't get that bunt down. That was a poor at-bat for sure. Leo Rivas, man, 2 for 4, 2 base hits and a walk, on base 3 times today. I cannot say enough good things about Leo Rivas. And honestly, defensively, he's been good. I know he had a couple mishaps in LA, but those are just errors. He's I think been 2 or 3 outs above average defensively this year. You know, the key is, can he get to the balls, right? Like, the errors are going to happen. I remember, for years, Eric Chavez, one of the best defenders in baseball, would lead the league in errors. It does happen. It doesn't excuse the errors. They need to be better in that series in LA. But man, he's swinging a good bat. He's a guy I have confidence in, and I like Dan letting him have that at bat. Not saying Scott wouldn't have, maybe he would have too, but really like sticking with him, and him getting the base winner was great to see. Kind of this year's Jose Caballero. I mean, he's wearing 76. That helps too. He's certainly not the instigator that Caballero is, and he doesn't quite have the pop of Caballero, but he's got good bat-to-ball skills. At least what I've seen so far has been impressive, and he should be playing every day at shortstop right now. Until JP is back, Leo Rivas is the guy. I'm not saying Dylan Moore shouldn't get some at-bats, but with how cold he's been, I'm letting Leo Rivas play out the string. Nice win. A very nice, fun win for this team. We needed a little fun. We did. Doesn't solve all the problems. This doesn't mean ownership, front office is all of a sudden off the hook for me or anything like that. But for one night, Mariners baseball was fun tonight, and that was good to see. And Houston losing, you get a little bit of the good vibes back, at least for today. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Who knows? Baseball can, like Mariner Sir said yesterday, 10 days ago, we were celebrating that sweep on Sunday Night Baseball against the Mets. And 10 days later, you're sitting there going, man, this is over. So maybe it continues to spiral tomorrow. Maybe they go on a streak, and, the next 10 days are the reverse for them. Houston's got a tough series in Baltimore. So, certainly have a chance. Going to be tough tomorrow against Blake Snell. And then I think you do face Robbie Ray now on Sunday. So we'll see. But as far as tonight goes, nice win. Congratulations to Dan the Man Wilson on his first win as Mariner skipper. And I look forward to many, many more. Like, comment, subscribe. And as always, go Mariners. Peace.